welcome all of you to the Church of the Ascension. And thank you for joining us on this beautiful Sunday.
So, Francis, how are you feeling?
Oh, just fine, Bernie. Just fine.
Just fine? You know that's not going to cut it in here, Francis. I've been treating you for depression for over 6 years now, and I'm going to need a little more than just fine to write down in my little book there.
All right, Bernie, all right. To be honest, I'm tired. Sometimes really tired. You know how it goes. There have been several serious illnesses in the congregation. Sometimes I feel as though cancer's singled out my parish. One of the kids in the youth group just got a DUI. He asked me what the Lord thinks of Jaeger bombs. Pastor Emeritus Reverend Babson just passed away. He was a beacon for the church. Aside from really hurting from that, there are a lot of preparations that have to be made for a special funeral service. I'm just
Francis, you've got to slow down.
Slow down, Bernie. It's not in the job description. These people need me. It's what I do.
Yes, Francis, but at the end of the day, when you take your frock off, you're a human being like the rest of us. And there are limits to your capacity to keep on giving. You've got to give yourself a rest, or you will, like the rest of us, burn out. We talked before about your taking a sabbatical.
It's just out of the question right now, Bernie. Maybe next summer if things quiet down.
If things quiet down. How are things with Beth?
Francis, come to bed.
I will soon. I just need a little more time with this.
Honey, you've been working on that all night. You need sleep.
I said soon. I need to get it right.
You need sleep, dear.
I need a little more time.
Okay. I understand. Just don't forget, I have the women's conference across the river in the morning. I won't be here to make sure you wake up.
I'll be fine. I'll come up soon. Welcome to you all to the Church of St. Thomas. Excuse me. That was my last church. Welcome to the Church of the Ascension. I'm so glad all of you are here. I have a very special sermon for you today. Let us pray.
What's wrong, Francis?
What's wrong? What's wrong?
Yes, Francis, what's bothering you?
I forgot my sermon notes on the nightstand because I woke up late. The alarm was not set properly.
The alarm was set, Francis. Just like it always is. You probably slept through it because you're exhausted.
I had to get Deacon Samuels to cover for me so I could run back to the house to get my notes. I have a responsibility to this congregation, Beth. They look to me for guidance and leadership, and I fail them.
You're overreacting, dear. I'm sure the service was just fine.
Just fine? It was a disaster. Even with my notes, I couldn't finish them the way I wanted to last night, and I couldn't follow them in church. I was just rambling.
You're pushing yourself too hard, sweetheart. You need rest.
I need to perform the job I was brought here to do. I was called to service. And doing anything short of dedicating myself wholly to that task means violating an oath I took to serve. It means failing God, my parishioners, and my sacred responsibility.
You can't keep going on like this, Francis. We can't keep going on like this.
Beth. I'm so sorry. I should be able to handle this. It's my job. It's what I do. But it's beginning to be too much, and I'm taking it out on you, and that's not right. It's like I can't stop. I want everything to be perfect. I think my sermons could always be better. The congregation is always going to have issues that need tending to.
Francis, it is what you do. But there's no way anyone could take on everything that you've tried to do. We've got to look at other ways for you to deal with this. Are you taking your medication?
Yes. But I don't feel it's really helping me all that much. I was hoping it would make me feel better, but it hasn't.
I think what we should do is talk with Dr. Kravitz. Let him know what's going on. And we can take it from there. Okay.
Let me just ask a couple of questions to make sure we're on the right track, Francis. How are you sleeping?
Not well.
He's staying up extremely late most nights, working on his sermons.
How much time would you say you're spending on them, Francis?
It's hard to say. I want them to be perfect. As perfect as I can make them.
Well, it has to be something close to 4 or more hours a night.
I see. I can't imagine that's doing any wonders for your energy level. Any better since last we spoke?
Still exhausted. I don't see how that's going to change.
Let's go back to this issue of the sermons. I know you have a sense that you want them to be perfect. What other feelings or kinds of feelings are you experiencing when you work on them?
I have a tough time focusing. The harder I try, the more frustrated I get. I end up in a kind of foggy sadness. I'm irritable. I've snapped at Beth more than once while working.
So, you're sleeping poorly? You're irritable, your energy level is low, and you're having difficulty concentrating. It sounds as if you're having feelings of hopelessness as well. Are you having any kind of crying spells?
Sometimes, yes. And you know what's kind of strange? I feel cold all the time.
Francis, you've never told me before that things were this bad for you. There's a lot going on here. Why didn't you bring this to me sooner?
My feeling was it wasn't right for me to think of myself and my own needs. Pastor is bound to his congregation. It's always their needs that have to come first.
I hear what you're saying, Francis, but you can't serve your congregation if you're not taking care of yourself. It's clear to me now that what we're dealing with is not simply just a case of exhaustion. In fact, you're suffering from what we call treatment-resistant depression. What I mean by that is that your depression is persisting to a significant extent in spite of the several trials of antidepressants that we tried up to this point. In this situation, I think we need to step back and really evaluate what's going on for you in a more comprehensive way than we have before. The first thing we have to do is reevaluate your medications. In terms of your antidepressant, we can increase the dosage of the medication, and we can add another additional medication in order to enhance the effect of the antidepressant. That's called adjunctive therapy. Or we can try a different antidepressant. From a medical standpoint, there are several conditions which may cause or aggravate the symptoms you're experiencing. So I want to run a few tests to make sure we're not missing one of those. And I think you have a kind of personality disorder that is making things a lot harder for you. So I'd like to refer you to a therapist to address that. And I think it's really important that you take at least a small break from work so that we can evaluate all of this more fully. Can you do that?
Yes, you're right. Starting next month, I'll take a week or two off.
Francis, we're going to get to the bottom of this. Now that we know what we're dealing with, we can concentrate on getting you not only better, but well.
I'd like to personally welcome each of you this morning to the Church of the Ascension. And thank you for joining us on this joyous Sunday. Let us pray.
Well, Francis, I've got to tell you that you sound a lot better to me. But I've got to ask, are you being as honest as you can about what you're experiencing?
Absolutely. I'm really feeling better.
Showed a lot of courage to come forward and participate in cognitive behavioral therapy, and to face head-on your obsessive-compulsive personality traits. You also cooperated with a full medical evaluation through which we were able to diagnose and treat your mild thyroid condition. We also made an important change to your medication regimen, and you finally allowed yourself to take some rest. We took a more comprehensive approach to your treatment, and you participated actively throughout the process. As a result, your depression, your functioning, has really improved.
I couldn't have done it without Beth.
That woman is a saint.
So, how'd things go with Dr. Kravitz today?
Well, they went well. I'm not saying things are perfect yet, mind you. There's a road ahead with some ups and downs, I'm sure. With a saint by my side, I can pass through Honey Valley.